Hey. 1 2 1 2. Hello, hello. Hello, testing. Okay, I think we're live now. Hello, everyone. It's been a long time. I think it's been some while since I've been doing this. Haven't been doing it. I've been taking a little bit of a break now, so I'm a little bit rusty. Probably a little bit motivated to get back on track. So let me know if you can hear me, please. Let me know if you can hear my voice and if you can hear the instrument. Hopefully without any delay or something like that. And maybe we can start, okay? Okay. You good? We can hear you? Okay, great. So, if you've never been here in this instance, in this particular video that you're up to, my main goal over here is just listening to you, trying to answer some of your questions as good as I can. Maybe having some conversation related to whatever thing you're having troubles with. Maybe some songs you're having some troubles, and maybe we can revisit some parts of songs that are up in the channel, and maybe we can go through them. Something like that, really, okay? Maybe chilling out and just listening to some guys talking about bass and music, okay? What else do I have to remind you? Let me remember. Maybe I have to remind you I'm not from America. I think I'm improving my language every day, but it's a lot. It's very difficult to think about doing all the things that I have to do now and also translate in my mind. So sorry if I talk a little bit Yankee or too slow or too stupid, I don't know. But in the meantime, you can maybe think about some questions that we can answer. I will tell you that I will be back with some videos and some new uploads next week. I'm preparing some other video game tune that I was requested by the lovely patrons on Patreon. Remember, if you want to become a patron, you can do it in the links in the description and support the channel. One of the most important things, and the most important thing that maintains this channel alive, are people becoming patrons and having their songs done by me. So what else do I have to remind you? You have donations, also kindly donations that you can give me, mostly because of the things that I always say. You know, I don't gain anything related to monetization in this channel. I can't monetize anything, right? You already know that. And many other things. Remember also to follow on Facebook if you want to, because I always kind of like give some advice on when I'm going to do all of those things, and these streams and many other things. And that's it. Let's play a little bit. Okay. A slippery lip asks, tape wounds or flat wounds, what's your opinion? I'm looking for a deep tone, almost like an upright. Okay, recently I was just watching a video. I think it was from Adam Neely, the great guy that's doing some great content, and you should follow for sure. Talking a little bit about how to make kind of like an upright sound in your own instrument, right? And I think there's many things that maybe we can talk about how to create a more of an upright sound, a double bass sound, contrabass sound. I don't know how you name it. First, we have to define what is the sound of an upright bass. Okay, it's kind of an acoustic, really low-end sound. It sounds like wood. It sounds like a big instrument, right? So for that, maybe you need, of course, thicker strings probably, and yeah, the wound of the strings will affect. And now I have round wounds. And round wounds are kind of like the standard of it, and you can't really achieve much of an acoustic big sound with round wounds, in my opinion. He recommended flat wounds, and I think it's kind of like the same opinion back here. Tape wounds, all of those options have the difference on the physicality of the strings related to the flatness of it, and that flatness will give you more of the usual sound. The old strings in old stringed instruments were made by actually gat from cats or from sheep, I think. So yeah, but I think there's also other things that you can do. When I try to make some covers that the sound was a really kind of like of an upright sound, or maybe a really big sound, trying to emulate that, I usually like to play over here just to get a little bit more of the sound, and I usually play with this pickup only. Of course, if you have a precision, I would say you will have a better chance to sound like an upright for sure. Maybe with this pickup only and trying to play over here, and the way you play, it's rounded. If you can round your own way to play, and that is interesting for me, other than the physic part of all of this. If you round your playing and trying to use maybe one finger or using two fingers at a time actually to create a bigger plucking instrument, you will have kind of like this sound, you know. But it sounds just like a bass, right? So you need to do other things to improve that. For me, I work a lot with processing after the times that I needed to have less attack or less high end. I just roll off with a filter and things like that, right? But yeah, there's physical aspects that you can create to shape sound, and I always like that to remind to people. You can shape your sound with your fingers for sure, and with the way you play, actually, I would say. And what else do I do? Yeah, I usually just try to play like that, and maybe having trying to emulate it in the same way. When I play around, I usually play not with the tip of my fingers, and more with the full finger actually, to create that type of or whatever, right? So maybe I do that, but it's never enough. It's not sounding like an upright, right? I would love to have one actually. But what else? What else do I have to say about that? About shaping your sound, you always have to say a lot of things, because many people tend to think you just need to buy a new item, a new thing to get new sounds. Kind of like you need to acquire a new thing, commodity, or a new piece of equipment, instrument, or whatever, to have that sound that you want. And I would say most of the time people that do comments in the comment section think like that. And for me, it's been interesting to just have this instrument throughout the whole of my career, actually. It's kind of a funny thing if you think about it. I think I never changed my bass. I don't have other basses. And I just can shape a lot of the tone because I work with digital aspects of the sound, so I can work with it a lot. I for sure I couldn't play half of my songs on the channel if I just had an amp and the bass, because you need a lot of pedals to be versatile. You need a lot of other equipments that I just go and emulate digitally, right? So what else? I think that's all I have to say for that aspect. I don't know what you can say about it. By the way, I'm never saying that I'm the best at giving advice or at giving a kind of like lessons. I would say I have some experience that I want to share, but this is more of a conversation that just me telling you, that's what you need to do and whatever. I don't think that good of myself, actually. What else? Mr. Core Solutions says, Nassim Vivers. I recently bought an Ibanez SR300 and I have a slight problem. Whenever I play the D string, there is like an annoying clicking sound. This only occurs on this particular string. I tried to adjust my pickup height and my action at the bridge. Nothing works. Okay, that is difficult because probably those are the things that I was just thinking about. You need to adjust probably pickup height. That usually creates some clicking sounds, fretting noise. I don't know if you're referring it to like the usual fretting sounds that you get when you play badly over here. Kind of something like that sound. Something like that. Or maybe some other type of sound. But usually the adjustment that makes other solutions is the Truss Rod Adjustment that many people kind of like fear to do by themselves. But I've heard that it's not that harmful if you do it carefully. You can adjust whatever aspect of the instrument if you do it carefully. But maybe some of the guys over here can tell you something. I gotta say, maybe you know me. I'm not the best guy for thinking about all of those problems related to gear. I wish I had maybe a little bit more knowledge. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask. I'm going to answer some other things. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Pierce, actually, for giving Mr. Nassim some questions and advice. Okay. What else do we have here? Could you give me a small demonstration on how to play tapping and bass? I want to write my own solo. Oh, and I want to include some tapping. Thanks. Okay. I usually do that explanation about tapping because I've seen many guys doing it not that great. When you tap on bass and you don't have a really low action and maybe some kind of an active instrument or maybe some other gear things, it's easy to lose your sound when you tap. Usually you go like this and you want to tap something and you just go and it doesn't sound that great if you just press and lift and assume that this pulling off will sound great just like that, just by pulling out of the string. And that is a lesson that I kind of like learned some while ago, related to pull-offs in whatever other aspects. And I always like to give this advice. I know it's maybe repetitive, but when you pull off in whatever context, even if it is tapping, because finally tapping is just pulling off, hammer on, pull off, and tapping, right? It's usually never just tapping, never just doing this. It's usually having to do something like this, maybe more for guitar, but you can also just tap. But yeah, when you tap and you slightly push, pull out to the side, I think you get more fullness of the sound, especially in this instrument that doesn't have a distortion, doesn't have something that gives you a little bit of a boost in sound. So you need to really be careful with the sound that you're projecting. And I usually like to do my pull-offs in this matter. I just slightly pull off to the side, so the string actually kind of like it gets a new push, a new attack, but a slight attack. If you do that well, you can actually not use this hand and just go like this for all the time you want, really. So I would say that is something that most guys don't do, or I don't know, beginners. But I don't know if that's the case for you. I don't know if you want something more specific. But I really like to use tapping in other ways. I like to use it more to create maybe some chords, or maybe creating conversations between the bass part of the bass, right? The bass job of a bass, maybe doing something like this. And creating something with your free hand over here, I don't know. Something like that. Something like that I like to do sometimes, but I wouldn't say I'm the best at tapping, and I usually don't do it that much. I don't include that in my way of playing. I've seen some really cool guys doing some cool things for sure, but I would say that a normal instrument with high action, it doesn't encourage you that much to create a lot of tapping bass sounds, because you have to really be careful on making bad noises, you know. If you do something like this, it's really difficult to create that kind of sound without having the sound of me pulling out the fingers, right? But that can be solved with other things and whatever, okay? But yeah, let's maybe go to other questions. Okay. Double slap. I don't know what you mean with double slap. I've heard of double thumb. I don't know if I've heard of double slap. Maybe you can give me some explanation on what do you think it is. Okay, what else? Now, I'm not attending to people asking me about, can you do a cover of this now? Actually, I don't recommend you to just write, can you do a cover of this in a live chat, because in a live chat the comments are not saved. So I will never actually remember that you said this. It will just get lost in the ether of the internet. So if you want me to listen to your request, and just go into a comment of a video that's already uploaded, okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. You can do it in the comments, but here is just really just noise. Yeah, many people ask about double thumb, and I usually don't have that much to say also, sorry, because I'm not that really accustomed to it, but I know the physics behind it, and it's just, I really think you first need to think about mastering your slapping technique after going for double thumb, right? Having a full sound of a slapping sound, and then just going and going the opposite way, right, with your thumb. For me, it's a little bit difficult and hard, because I like to play with higher action most of the time, and I would say lower action will give you a little bit more of a facility to have a clicking sound easily, right? And now I have a really high action because I'm preparing something that needs that type of action. But yeah, with lower you can just go like this, and that will sound like slap, right? Maybe if you think about Flea, and when he plays fingers, actually, you can sometimes can't actually know if he's playing with slapping or fingers, because he just goes so hard in the strings, and he also has a really low action, so it sounds all the time, right? And that affects your slappy or snappy sound that you can get. I would encourage you to maybe lower it a little bit, but yeah, the physique after it is just going like this, and then just going like that, just picking the string from behind and trying to lift it up with your nail, actually. So I would say the nail will hurt a lot in the beginning. It still hurts a little bit for me because I don't do it that often. Probably if you do it a lot of times, it won't be that of a thing. But yeah, it's just going, maybe playing some things, I don't know, maybe doing some exercises like this, and switching strings. You can actually hear that I'm not that great on it. But yeah, you can maybe apply it into whatever thing. Maybe some fast thing. I don't know, really. But it's a great tool if you combine it with all the other possibilities on Slap. I would say when I want to go a little bit faster in slappy things, I usually like to go more for other techniques. Like I really like the left hand tapping on the strings to create another percussive sound, some kind of like a Les Claypool thing that he does. I don't think I actually ever heard a song or played a song from Primus or Les in which he uses a lot of double thumb. I would say he likes a lot to do this. Just slapping and then going with the left hand doing this sound. If you do it correctly and just mute the strings enough, you will get something like this. and you're not even going with your popping sound. You're just going. And you can create some interesting things. I really like that a little bit more than the double thumped thing. It sounds more interesting to me. And yeah, you can create some patterns, some interesting patterns if you go with the with the more snappy sound of the popping, and you can maybe do something like this. Maybe the usual. That is like in Tommy the Cat, the really fast part with the slapping is just and it's just going it's slap, left hand slap, slap again, popping, and so it goes. And you finish it with 2 slaps. So you go slap, left hand slap, pop, and 2 slaps, and you get a full pattern of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of like a 6 tuplet, or maybe, yeah, or maybe 2 triplets. I don't know. I don't think he does it like that. I think it's probably after the tapping, after the popping, you go with left hand again. So it's yeah, it's so it finishes like this: popping, left hand slap, and slap. So it goes. Yeah. It all should be really muted, and if you go really fast, it's really comfortable to do. It sounds fast, really, but it's not that difficult to do, and I really like that option, because it's you may think it's a little bit hard to just go and do and mixing it up with other things. Maybe something like that. Sorry, I'm a little bit rusty really with slap. I don't do it that much, but maybe something like this. Something like that. And those kind of like a fast notes that you can get are not that really difficult to achieve, I would say, if you go really slow and practice your timing most of the time, because locking up with your timing and doing all of this, it's a little bit hard, I would say, trying to lock with all of this. Maybe practicing some exercises related to this, slapping, muting your slap, and then going one, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You can manage all of that just by practicing, and it begins to sound more like drums to me, and I really like that new aspect of it that you can achieve. It's kind of like having 2 drumsticks now, because you have 1 and 2, and you can play around with this. And if you add the popping sound, you have more things to mess around with. I don't know. I really like that kind of a little aspect of it. What do you mean when your thumb looks very sorry? I don't understand that. What do you mean, like very sorry? Like a sorry ass thumb? Okay, what else? If you have an amp with 3 knobs and one of them is the volume, what would you pick for other 2? That I don't know if that's a question of because you don't know what the others 2 do, or do you want me to pick some wishing list on on what I want the other 2 ones to have? But it's very usual that a simple amp will have a gain knob, volume knob. Usually for bass, you have volume and gain separate, and then you have 3 more for the EQ usually. But I don't know what else. Okay. What else? Who has a bass in their hands right now? Me. I do have a bass right here. If you want me to play maybe some things related to, maybe I'm going to play at the end of it, of all of this, like I always do. I haven't been playing a lot, I gotta say. I've been working on many other things, and I didn't have the opportunity to play that much. And I'm really a little bit kind of like strained in my wrist right now, because I've been doing a lot of keyboard and mouse work, and I don't think I took that much attention into my wrists, and now they actually hurt a little bit. So I need to have some rest for sure. The problem is that if I take too much of a rest, I will probably die of starvation, right? So do you have a tutorial for the Seinfeld theme? I actually don't have, but I do remember most of the first part. That I would say the first part is the most difficult part. It was something like this, right? Oh, I don't remember. I actually don't remember. Maybe I'm going to check it out. Maybe we can do a little bit of a lesson on the famous tune. That I know that song doesn't have an original bass player. It's just synth. And many guys in the comments always say, "Yeah, you do it, but it's just synth and whatever." And I understand. I understand that. Okay, I think one of my software crashed right now, so sorry about that. I'm going to open it again. But yeah, maybe we can go around that in a while. But for now, I'm going to answer other questions. Okay. Please explain the really weird tapped sound in. I never know how to pronounce this. Schism or schism. Sorry. After seeing your cover, I still can't figure out how it's done. Well, I think I have to guess that you're referring to the main riff, the usual main riff, something like that. I don't know if you're referring to that part or not. Maybe you can be a little bit more specific, because. But yeah, I wouldn't say that's tapped, by definition. Usually when you say tapped, you go like, you think about doing things like this, right? So it's just hammer on, and it's just that. It's really just a really fast hammer on that goes in two parts. First you have your open. Okay, it's pronounced schism, right? Thanks so much. So you have your open D, and you go from your 0 or your open D into C and then D. So you just have to do that really fast, and the thing is that it will be really hard probably if you're kind of like a beginner, or maybe a little bit more of that, to get it fast and well done. Probably you will do it fast enough, but maybe not really that well done in terms of sound. So you really need to go slow to practice all of this. So it's, I recommend you to just go and isolate that part and go. You will need a lot of strength of fingers. If you don't have it now, you need to build up a little bit of strength to create a good hammer-on sound, because if you go slightly with this, it will sound something like this. A little bit too soft. So you need to go a little bit harder, but never doing it like this. You don't have to raise your fingers that much, because that will cause you some troubles related to stamina and to your own way of playing. It will not be that effective, right? So maybe just go like this. And you go and faster and trying to fix that sound. So I've seen many guys in the time that I was just doing the cover that it didn't sound that aggressive, because they weren't doing it with a little bit more of strength, I would say. So it really should sound every note really separate from each other. And then you just go and you just do the other part that I would say is not that difficult. But yeah, practicing all of that, it will be really, really, really important. It's not very common to go and do 2 hammer-ons at a time, or 3 or more, but it's something that you need to do really carefully, because when you add up another hammer-on, you are really risking to lose your sound, your attack of the note. If you go like this and go, it will probably don't be. I don't know how to tell it. Okay. If you go like this and just play one note and go with a lot of hammer-ons, the final hammer-on will probably don't even sound if you don't take attention into your hammer-on technique, right? So you need to go and practice that. I would encourage you to practice as a preparatory exercise. Try and go doing some warm-up exercise, something like this. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over the strings, but just with one striking on the string and trying to maintain your sound. Okay, it will be a little bit difficult to maintain that sound the way it should maintain itself without losing it. Same thing occurs when you're doing it over here, right? But yeah, now I'm going to try to open my Seinfeld tablature that I have over here, saved from years ago. Actually, it's been some years, man. Now that I think about it, some years of work. So as I always say, thanks so much for being here. Actually, maybe you can share with me how much time do you have watching this channel. Maybe some of you are really old timers, and maybe you've been in the channel for a long time. I don't know. Let me check if I have the famous Seinfeld thing over here. Seinfeld theme. Okay, over here. So this is the famous main riff. It's okay. It's yeah, I do remember it now. It's yeah, something like that, right? I really like that main the first riff. It's really hard to pull the way it should be done. Actually, you have some difficult things to do. So you begin with a let me give you the visualization of the tablature over here. I think you should see now the tab. So you have this. Slap, pop, slap, pop, and then you go pop, pop. It has a lot of popping sound more than a slapping. It's if you do the same without popping and with more slapping, it will not sound the same way, I would say. Something like this. It loses a little bit of the high attack that the song has. Maybe something like this. And you actually have to bend a little bit of the 7, a little bit of the A. So you begin with A, D, A, B. I'm sorry, E, D, E, B, A, and the A you kind of like bend it a little bit. So if you want to get the real sound that you hear in the original thing, you kind of like need to bend a little bit of some notes. That is why I notated it like that. I don't know, maybe some of you didn't notice, but I did a little bit of an arc over here, if you can see, and that means that you need to bend the string, but just a little bit. It's not like a full bend, like something like this, or a half bend in which you go full tone or half tone, a whole tone or a half tone. You go more like a quarter tone if you have that notated in my tabs. So you go something like this. It doesn't go all the way to the semitone. It doesn't go all the way to the B flat. It kind of like in the half of the way of it. Yeah, if you have that, you kind of like add a new type of technique that it will make it sound interesting. But yeah, it's a difficult piece actually to get if you want to get it. So I wish you the best of luck, and if you have some some questions, you can take advantage of me for sure. You can give me some more questions. Okay. What else? What else? I watched this in class because we never do anything in class. I don't know what to think about that. You probably should be doing something in class. But yeah, thanks for watching me. Okay, what else? Seriously love your channel. I'm 14 and you get me into bass. Thank you. That is one of the main goals of this channel, behind trying to do things correctly and trying to make good tablature and trying to make good transcriptions, good sounding tone of the cover, good covers in general, or maybe trying to give you some lessons. The main thing for me is just trying to invite more people into bass, into the functions of bass, into what is the role of a bassist, the importance of bass. I think it's fairly underrated, and many people don't know about it. And that is it's really great when people say to me or comment that I inspired them to take the bass. That I find that really great, because it's a really nice instrument. It's a great instrument for me, and I really love it. And I would say I would kind of like adventure myself and tell you that I think bass will make you understand music in different ways. It has really done that for me. You can understand music differently when you think more about the functions, the control that you can have, and harmony and all of that. And bass invites you more into that, into being more careful with your music, for sure. It's a really great instrument. What else? What else? What's the meaning of your tattoos? Yeah, they are just an infinite symbol. I really like the infinite symbol, but I like the aesthetics. The aesthetics I always liked from being I don't know, a little boy. I really liked the aesthetic of drawing an infinite symbol of a. I think beyond all the meaning that I could give into it, it's more of an aesthetic thing that I just wanted to have and to look at. But I also really like the concept of infinitude in its all in all the knowledge that maybe we can try to reach on it. But it's a difficult concept actually to manage as a human being, I would say. Practice routines. This is interesting. Okay, Mr. Fear Apocalypse, thanks for your question. Maybe I'm going to answer a couple of them. I'm a little bit rusty, so I need to take a break soon. But yeah, I'm now my practice routine or my warm-up routine is really exhaustive, and I really like it, because it kind of like it prepares you to go and play whatever you want if you do it correctly. And maybe I'm going to try to share it fully with you now. But the thing and the important thing is just playing around. I like just playing around and thinking about my fingers with numbers, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and just mess around with one finger per fret. I always do that, and you should probably try to skip a little bit of that knowledge of having the full octave range, or a really not stretched hand, just covering a little range. The most usual and most accurately, or maybe the most fit position to go and do more complex things is having one finger per fret and being capable of stretching out a little bit, even to create different positions. Maybe a usual major scale position actually is something like this. Sorry. So you're stretching out a lot to get that positions, and I would say many bassists are really accustomed to just go and play a major second of range and never using your little finger, going like this. So you're losing a little bit of things that you can do. So now I like to always practice with one finger per fret and going different exercise. I don't know, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, right? I always went and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and just keeping to the other strings, A string, D string, and G string, and just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And maybe just going the opposite way, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right? I used to do this practice routine all the time, and it was just something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way, and then just going down one step until the end. Actually, I was just playing something like this until I got over here, and then I just went and go backwards for 4, 3, 2, 1. Always going backwards was a little bit more difficult to achieve, because you have to lift with more care so the notes don't get muted after you go and release your fingers. It's always a little bit harder, but it's the most important of the two, I would say, going backwards. But now, this is something that you don't do that much in reality. You don't play songs or play some licks and just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, or something like that. You have different combinations, and for that I like to do some other combinations of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Maybe going 1, 1, 3, 2, 4. That will be a lot harder actually to do, because you're not going one way and then the other way. You're now picking some fingers and some others and doing different patterns, and that is more like playing scales, more like playing a song, more like playing whatever, because you have movements that are different, right? So you go. Then I discovered the 1, 3, 2, 4, and I really liked it, and I just played it, and I think it really improved doing it. 1, 3, 2, 4, and maybe doing 4, 2, 3, 1, the opposite of it. Right? But now I do a routine that it's not created by me. It's actually from my teacher, that I think it's really more complete, and it goes through all the different combinations, going down and up and backwards, and it's something like this. You begin with 1, 2, 3, 4, then you go 4, 3, 2, 1, the opposite version of the first one. Then you go 1, 2, 4, 3, That one is really hard, and then you go the opposite, 3 4 2 1. Then you go 1 3 2 4, the opposite. Then you go 1 3 4 2. Then the opposite, 2 4 2 4 3 1. So you need to think a little bit about what you're doing. And now you go 1 4 3 2, and the opposite. No, I think I missed one. Yeah, it was 1 4 2 3, and 3 2 4 1, and then finally 1 4 3 2 2 3 4 1, and then you go over here and begin again 1 2 3 4, the same pattern that you have over here. You repeat it in the octave, but now you go backwards. So you will begin and you will start here with the same pattern, and it's repetitive. You can do it over here, over here, over here, all the time that you want. It's good for memorizing patterns. It's good for practicing all different combinations that you can have, and I think it will improve a lot of your way of playing, actually. So maybe you should think about doing that types of combinations. I was actually thinking about maybe uploading a new lesson on that routine, so a lot of people can do it, because I think it has been giving me a lot of new possibilities of things that you can do, right? And warming up before playing is really, really important, and you should do it more than 15 minutes before beginning to prepare for your things. I gotta say, I usually don't do it, and I think that's why sometimes I get a little bit cramped, and so I'm beginning to pay more and more attention on my workout sessions. Those are really, really, really important. Okay. Did you learn playing the bass with a teacher, or you are self-taught? Until about 3 or 4 months ago, I didn't have a teacher. I never had a teacher on bass. I had guitar teachers on my time that I went with guitar. I began with guitar, all of this, all of the music. I had some lessons on guitar, and then I just went with bass by myself. Most of the work that I have in the channel is just by a guy that went and played a lot of bass and saw a lot of videos on YouTube and saw a lot of other bassists doing things. But it was really important to have a musical background on what is studying music, what is studying an instrument, and what is studying a theory of music. And I strongly believe that going with theory a lot will really improve consistently the way you manage whatever instrument that you have in your hands, okay? Because you will understand concepts that many people don't understand that really or applying to their instrument. Concepts like dynamics, knowing that your notes should sound controlled in the way of playing too loud or too soft. Timing aspects that you can manage to understand without an instrument, by just tapping exercises of rhythm techniques. Timing is really, really important to define a good instrumentalist, and you don't really need an instrument to go and do that. And what else? knowing the sound, knowing the timbre of your instrument, knowing how to control your sound, all of that, you can achieve many things if you go and relay more in theory, in music, and learning music as a science or music as a way of understanding things, more than just playing and playing and playing. You can play and play and play and never know what you're doing, and you will maybe never improve greatly. Maybe you will always know one thing that sounds great for you. There's nothing bad with that, but I really like the way on which you make more privilege of understanding music, so you can play it better. If you understand what you're playing, you for sure will play it better. Okay, I would say many of the guys will tell you, and that is the main reason of studying. Okay, but yeah, I didn't need a bass teacher until now, because now I really needed to have corroboration of things. I needed to have a wider aspect of things that you can do, you can study, and more advanced things probably, and more things related to having the aid of someone that is better than you, and you can have a conversation with that guy. It's mostly like the things that we're trying to do over here. Okay, I really like it, these instances, because I think people kind of like it gets the idea of having someone that tells you, okay, you can do this, maybe. I don't know. I really like that conversation in education, more than just do that, do the other thing, and you should do it like that. It's not like that. I would say it's more of a conversation. But yeah, I would encourage you to also have a teacher, because when you have someone that you are afraid to actually, it's kind of like a psychological thing. When you're afraid to let down someone that you can physically see their disappointment or their pressure into your own good, it's a little bit more motivating to study, I would say. I want to be like that guy. I want to know what he knows. And most of the time in the internet, guys will just go and say, I can't play like that guy. He's a genius. He is an idol. I know nothing. I don't know. And they just go and go with that feeling, and they just don't do anything. Okay, you shouldn't go like that. You should think always, someday maybe I will do it. Okay, I think that is more of a good choice of learning. That is why I don't like when people refer to whatever guy as an idol, a monster, or all those adjectives that kind of like idolize people, and you shouldn't idolize, really. Okay, but I think I'm going to go with that, and maybe a couple more questions. So let's wrap this up. I will tomorrow. I'm thinking on doing other stream for the guys in Spanish. If you want to attend, no problem. And I'm really trying to do this all Fridays, every Friday. So expect this next Friday also. Okay. Another question: can you recommend some good stretches to help relieve a tight fret hand? I can only play 15 to 20 minutes without cramping up. Okay, I really encourage you to do my types of warming up exercises. before playing. I think that will give you more range of stamina to continue playing. But yeah, there's also some good stretching out things that you can do. Something like this, trying to go like this with each finger behind, trying to do something like this. I'm now kind of like doing some more research on stretching out that you can do besides the ones that you can do in your instrument, because I think I will suffer a little bit of some straining. I'm suffering now a little bit of straining because I play too much and I can't stop playing because it's my job, right? So I need to take care of it, and unfortunately, if I don't, I will have a bad time for sure. So yeah, you can do something like this. You can have an elastic band and just go like this. Maybe playing with it a little bit like this to strengthen out your muscles on the wrist. Never do kind of like the too hard things like pressing the little ball, or doing those kind of like exercise things that you can buy. Those are too much. Maybe doing something like this, just messing around with that, or exercising your hands, maybe shaking them a little bit. It also works. But mostly, if you think you're too tired, just stop playing for a while. You will really improve at rest as much as you improve by playing, and that is something that a lot of guys maybe don't understand that much. You need to rest your knowledge to make it solid, right? So that is really important. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to leave it like that for now. So if you have something else to say to finish this, you can let me know. But yeah, as I said, I will be back on Monday with new videos. I will try to make more content as often as I can. I have a lot of work behind all of this, but I'm just struggling to get it and do it soon. I'm working on a show that requires a lot of arrangements that I'm working now. So wish me some luck. I'm doing my best. I'm confident. I'm really confident of getting places, and you should also. Okay. So let me know if you like this, and I will see you next Friday for sure. I will try to do it. Okay. Thanks for attending this kind of class, and goodbye.